The holographic star map stretched across the chamber like a dying galaxy, red blinking lights marking fallen worlds one by one. Ambassador Krell of the Kathari Dominion leaned forward, his 4 eyes narrowing at the data streams. 47 civilizations sat in the grand conclave of sentient races. Each one ancient. Each one terrified. The Kreth Armada has consumed the Poran sector, announced Council Speaker Daxas, his voice translator humming. 17 billion souls, erased in 11 days. Silence swallowed the chamber. Then, from the back row, the section reserved for the youngest, least developed species, a human delegate raised his hand. Colonel James Harker. Broad shoulders. Jaw like carved stone. Eyes that had seen war on a planet most of the council couldn't find on a star map. How fast are they moving? Harker asked. Krell barely glanced at him. Primitive species are not recognized during threat assessments, Terran. Harker lowered his hand slowly. Said nothing. But he pulled out a small device and began calculating on his own. 3 weeks later, the Kreth Armada crossed into the outer spiral, Earth's neighborhood. The Council's emergency transmission reached UN Space Command headquarters in Colorado Springs at 0300 hours. General Rachel Boyd was already awake. She'd been awake for 2 days. "Sir," said Lieutenant Marcus Webb, pulling up the tactical feed, "the Council is recommending we evacuate civilian populations to underground shelters and await diplomatic resolution." Boyd stared at the screen. The Kreth fleet was 1,700 warships strong. Each vessel the size of a small moon. Their energy weapons had turned glass planets into vapor. Diplomatic resolution. She repeated it like it was a foreign language. "Yes, General." Boyd turned to her command staff, Colonel Harker, Dr. Angela Torres from Advanced Weapons Division, and a dozen of the sharpest military minds humanity had ever produced. "Get me every submarine commander, every orbital defense platform, every experimental weapons project we have, classified or not." She paused. "We're not evacuating. We're fighting." Webb blinked. "General, the Council says our weapons are insufficient." "The Council," Boyd said quietly, "has never met us on a bad day." The Vreth Armada arrived at the edge of Earth's solar system expecting silence. What they found was a minefield. Not an ordinary minefield. Dr. Torres had spent 72 sleepless hours designing what she called gravitational collapse charges, experimental devices that folded space in a tiny, violent bubble. They'd never been tested at scale. They worked perfectly. The first 3 Vreth vessels simply ceased to exist. No explosion. No debris. Just, gone. The Vreth commander, a being that had never known hesitation, hesitated. Then Earth's orbital rail cannons opened up. Hypersonic tungsten rods, accelerated to 0.3% the speed of light, punched through Vreth shielding that had laughed at plasma weaponry for 3 centuries. Colonel Harker watched the battle feed from the command bunker, voice steady as stone. "They're adjusting formation. They're scared." "Good," Boyd said. "Keep them scared." The battle lasted 9 days. 9 days of relentless, creative, absolutely unhinged human warfare. Humans attacked at angles that defied tactical logic. They used their own moon as a slingshot to launch drone swarms. They evacuated a space station, filled it with explosives, and flew it, remotely, directly into the Vreth command vessel. They didn't fight to survive. They fought like they were angry. On the 12th day, the Vreth Armada, the force that had consumed 47 worlds, turned and ran. Ambassador Vrel stared at the battle report for a long time. 1,700 Vreth warships. 112 destroyed. 94 heavily damaged. The Armada, in full retreat, for the first time in recorded history. Defenders lost, 63 humans. 63. Council Speaker Daxas pulled up Earth's profile again. Pre-warp civilization. Tribal conflict history. No energy shields. No directed energy weapons. Considered primitive. Harker stood before the full council now, not in the back row. He'd been given the floor. You asked us to hide, Harker said. We don't do that. Vrel leaned forward. For the first time, he looked at the human with something that wasn't dismissal. Colonel Harker, he said slowly. Your people have been spacefaring for 60 years. 63. A long silence passed through the chamber. We have been spacefaring, Vrel said quietly, for 4,000. Harker nodded respectfully. Then I guess you've had longer to forget what it's like to be desperate. Nobody in the chamber said a word. The star map glowed between them, and for the first time in the war, the red lights had stopped spreading.